Hey guys, Lena here, and in this video I want to share some pumpkin recipes with you. It's autumn now and it's cold outside and it's pumpkin season. And back in the day I used to love baked pumpkin, so I always made a huge tray with baked pumpkin and I just loved it and I was addicted. But obviously, since I'm a raw vegan, I don't want to cook my food anymore because I want to eat living, vibrant food and not dead food, not dead calories without nutrients. So obviously heat destroys all the nutrients and all the minerals and all the vitamins, and that's why I don't like to cook my food. And it took me quite a while to understand that I can actually enjoy pumpkin raw. I don't know why. It's not that complicated to have such an idea to eat pumpkin raw, but however I never did it. But recently I found out that you can really make really delicious dishes with raw pumpkin, and that's what we are doing today. So I prepared some recipes with raw pumpkin, and for the first recipe I'm going to use a butternut squash. This is the other half, so you need 1/2 of a butternut squash, pumpkin squash, however you want to call it. And we're making a rawsotto, so a raw version of pumpkin risotto. So yes, enjoy the process. For this rawsotto you're going to need 1/2 of a pumpkin. I used a butternut squash, and you have to shred it in your Vitamix with the pulse button until you achieve a rice-like texture. Next, you're going to need 6 sticks of celery cut into fine slices. As for the dressing, you're going to need a little piece of fresh turmeric root, tiny little bit of ginger, 4 dried apricots, and 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast. I also added into my blender 3 tablespoons from the pumpkin, and I'm going to add 1 handful of celery. And then I'm going to add the dried apricots into the blender, as well as the ginger and the turmeric and the nutritional yeast. And this, my friends, is going to be the sauce for the rawsotto. So I'm going to blend with a tiny little bit of water and show you the final result. The sauce is ready, and it's really easy, the process. You just put your pumpkin risotto into a large bowl. Next, you have to add your celery chunks, and you don't have to use celery. You can use any veggies you like, for example peas or bell peppers or mushrooms or tomatoes. Just literally you can use any vegetables you like. I like the crunch of the celery in my rawsotto, so that's it, we use it. Okay. And of course, now we are adding the sauce. Creamy. And by the way, it's a completely fat-free sauce, but it's still creamy because of the dried apricots. Dried apricots in salad dressings or sauces, they work wonders. Looks like a mess, but trust me, this combination, especially with the ginger and turmeric in it, it makes it really delicious and special. And this pumpkin recipe is also a great recipe for the holidays. So if you want to bring something to upcoming family gatherings, or yes, just for Christmas or Halloween, It's just a perfect recipe and everyone will love it. They will even not recognize that it's a rawsotto. Okay, and that's it. It's ready in just 5 minutes. Compared to a regular cooked risotto, you need hours. This is amazing. So now we are plated all up. So it have to be nice, it have to be Instagrammable, if you know what I'm talking about. So you can serve beautiful dishes to your family or friends and they will love it as well. And it's super healthy without unnecessary stuff in it. And I also, for the sauce, I just used simple ingredients. You can, of course, you can mix it up. You can use more pepper, you can use more turmeric, you can use garlic and onion powder to make it even more spicy. But I like things really simple. And that's why I just keep it simple. And for the topping, I decided to use some spinach leaves and some sun-dried tomatoes. And this looks like a gourmet dish, and it is. So just make it really beautiful. And tomatoes will also add a special flavor on top. Okay, and the spinach leaves, they are literally just for decoration, but you could use more spinach and serve it with more spinach on the side. So beautiful, I think. Maybe last spinach leaf on top. So ready. There we go. 5 minutes for a whole beautiful risotto recipe. Oh my gosh, and the sauce is coming out so creamy, so good. Yes, enjoy the first recipe with pumpkin. I'm back with my second raw pumpkin recipe from my series 4 raw vegan pumpkin recipes. I'm going to make a raw vegan pumpkin bread. Yes, it's possible to eat bread as a raw vegan. You just don't have to bake it over 42 degrees. So I'm going to make it in my dehydrator, and it's actually quite simple. So obviously it's a pumpkin recipe, so we need pumpkin, and I'm using again butternut squash. You can also use Hokkaido squash or any pumpkin you like, and we're going to need 350 grams, and I'm going to put it into my blender. And what we're going to do is, I have the dry ingredients here. So this is buckwheat flour. I made it myself, so it's homemade buckwheat. I sprouted the buckwheat and then I dried it in my dehydrator, and then I grounded it as flour in my Vitamix. If you want to skip all these steps, you can just buy store-bought flour, buckwheat flour, but I'm not quite sure if the flour you can buy in the store, if it's actually raw. So I like to do my own flour with buckwheat sprouts, so I'm sure it's really raw. And yes, you need also 350 grams of buckwheat flour. So the dry ingredients go into the bowl. Next, you're going to need psyllium husk, 2 tablespoons. Then you are free to use sun-dried tomatoes, or you can also use olives or whatever you want to have in your bread. So I decided I want to have sun-dried tomatoes in my bread. They go in as well. And for flavor, we have cutaway seeds and fennel seeds here. And I use them for even more flavor in my bread. So, and then we have to blend the wet ingredients. So here I already put the pumpkin into my Vitamix. Now I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. And it depends, a little bit of water, not too much, you can always add more, but it's difficult to make it thicker if you add too much water. So what we're going to do is, obviously I'm going to blend it, and then we mix this pumpkin puree with our dry ingredients. So see you in a second. So the pumpkin puree is ready. It smells really delicious, and I'm going to mix it into my dry ingredients now. Maybe not everything, we'll see. So now we need our hands to form the dough. You can always add more water if it's too dry, or a little bit more flour if it's too wet. That's obvious, I think. And of course you can be extremely creative in using other herbs or spices like rosemary or thyme or whatever you want to have in your bread, maybe pepper or even ginger and turmeric. Just feel free to make it delicious and special. You could also add more veggies into your bread, like shredded carrots or shredded zucchini, fresh tomatoes. I use sun-dried tomatoes. You can use literally everything you like. Yes, and that's the thing, we have to form the bread now, and it's so great. You can have raw vegan bread without feeling guilty, without creating carcinogens during the baking process, without losing nutrients, without feeling bad after eating it. Yeah, that's the great thing with raw veganism. Everything is delicious, and you will feel so good afterwards. Because if you eat like the regular bread you can buy in the bakery, it's crap. There's nothing in it than isolated flour without nutrients. They put preservatives in there, they put sugar in there, they put like all strange things, and so much salt as well. And this one is absolutely salt-free, as you could see. And yes, I love it. It's really sticky, but that's how it should be, because it's a bread. And I think I will put it into the dehydrator for at least 6 hours, maybe 8. It depends on which dehydrator you have. And yes, just check it from time to time if it's already. And I think I will make a little bread, but you can also make some buns, for example, or just put it into any shape you want it to have. Maybe baguette or pretzels, I don't know. Just again, be creative. I make my little bread and it looks like this. And now I'm going to put it into my dehydrator, onto the tray. So that's it. Now I just have to be patient and have to wait until my bread is ready. And obviously I'm going to show you the result in 6 to 8 hours. For you, maybe in a second. So see you soon. And this is the final result. The raw vegan bread is ready and it's delicious. I tell you, this is the best bread and the healthiest bread you can have. And it's crispy and yeah, it's crispy on the outside and super soft in the inside, so perfect texture. And the dried tomatoes, they are so delicious in this bread. Oh my god, this is amazing. Raw vegan bread without baking, without destroying any nutrients. There we go. And I tell you, it's better than every bread you can get in the bakery, and 1,000 times more healthy. So this is perfect. Yep, so we continue with the other pumpkin recipes. Hey, so the third pumpkin recipe is a super delicious creamy pumpkin cake. And like always, it's quite simple. You just need your Vitamix blender or any blender, high-speed blender of course. And the ingredients are, for the crust we are going to use dried mulberries, 100 gram, and 150 grams of dried apricots. And then also for the crust we are going to use 3 tablespoons of coconut flour. Yep. Then I'm also going to add vanilla bean powder and cinnamon. So just put all the ingredients into the blender. It's always the same thing, you just blend it and it's done. That's the great thing with raw veganism. You don't have to cook, you don't have to wash your pans afterwards. It's easy. And cinnamon. And I like to use a lot of cinnamon because I'm somehow addicted. I like the taste, I like the smell, I like it. Yes, so I'm going to blend the ingredients for the crust, and then we are going to make the filling, the creamy filling. So see you in a second. So the dough is ready. Let me show you. So it smells already so good. So much cinnamon and vanilla bean powder and the dried apricots. It's delicious. So I'm going to use a very small cake mold like this, and I put some plastic wrap in it so that it doesn't stick. And yes, that's what we're working with. Of course, you can use a regular large cake mold and then just double the recipe. But for me, the small one is totally fine. And all we're gonna do is now we are putting our dough into the cake mold, obviously. And now we have to use the hands to push it down. It smells like Christmas. Oh my god, this is going to be so delicious. And the mulberries, they are a great substitute for any dough. So if you want to make raw vegan dough, I highly recommend always use mulberries for the crust, because if you ground them in your Vitamix, they are like flour, just so much healthier. It's still a whole food and not an isolated, whatever, an isolated food. I don't want to call it food, but yes, you know what I'm talking about. So there we go, ready. This is the crust. It looks amazing. I'm super happy to prepare the filling right now. And the filling is super easy. You just need half of a small pumpkin. I use Hokkaido pumpkin, and you can use butternut or whatever you like. And it's really a small one. And again, if you use a bigger cake mold, you can use the whole pumpkin. And And also I'm going to use 1 banana for the filling so that it's really creamy and sweet. And again, I'm going to add cinnamon and vanilla bean powder. And I don't clean my Vitamix in between because it's just not necessary. And we want to have less work and less cleaning and less water. So just put it in like it is. The banana goes in. If you want to have it even sweeter and even a higher filling, then you can use 2 bananas. And now we are going to cut our pumpkin. This is always not the nicest chop, not the nicest thing to do, but you know, it's necessary. And if you really have a high-speed blender like the Vitamix, it will turn out so creamy. Otherwise, if your blender is not so strong, it could be a little bit difficult with the pumpkin. So maybe you would have to steam it before, but obviously then it's not raw anymore. So yes, I highly recommend to use a high-speed blender. Or what you also could do is to shred your pumpkin and put it in your blender if you don't have a high-speed blender. So then it's less work for the blender in the end. Basically, I'm just telling you unnecessary things here, but yes, just rambling. And now I'm going to add vanilla bean powder. Be generous. And again, the cinnamon flavor. And again, I'm going to blend it. And I guess I have to put a little bit of water in there so that it actually blends properly. We'll see and I will tell you. So the filling is also ready. Let me show you. Creamy goodness here, so perfect. And of course we are going to fill it into the cake pan, onto the crust. Oh, it's so good. And yes, I had to put some water in there because otherwise it was too dry and didn't want to blend so good. So I just added really just a tiny little bit of water. You will see how much you'll need. And that's it for this recipe. Super easy, super delicious, super pumpkinicious. Okay, I'll stop talking now. Yep, ready. So of course we are going to put it beautifully into the cake mold, and then we are going to freeze it. I think 6 to 8 hours or just overnight. And yes, that's it. And this recipe, again, you can be so creative with it. You can use, if you don't fear fat, you can use cashews in the filling, so it would make it even creamier, or hemp seeds, or whatever nuts you like, maybe almonds. And for the crust as well, you could use some almonds or walnuts, and then it would be a more high fat dessert. So I want to keep it low fat, and that's why I used no nuts in this recipe. And the banana makes it creamy already, so there's absolutely no need. But if you like nuts, and if you, like I said, if you don't fear high fat food once in a while, then you can totally use it. And then after 6 hours, I will show you the final result, the final cake, and yes, stay tuned. So for you, it will not be like 6 hours, it will be maybe in a second, but for me, it will take quite a time until I can finally taste this cake. And it smells so good. Okay, so I have one pumpkin recipe left, so I'm going to show you soon what it is. Here's the pumpkin cake. I think it's like a cheesecake, pumpkin cheesecake. And I also topped it with some banana slices and hemp seeds. You can top it with whatever you want. It's so beautiful and delicious. Yep. So I had it in the freezer overnight, and I think it's probably necessary to let it thaw a little bit before you eat it actually, but you can also eat it right out of the freezer. It doesn't matter. Hey, so for the last pumpkin recipe, I'm going to share with you a super delicious, like always, pumpkin smoothie. It's, again, extremely simple, so we only use 2 main ingredients, and obviously we are going to use pumpkin again because it's all about a pumpkin, you know. And I use my second half of the Hokkaido pumpkin. Again, this is a really small one, so the smoothie will be for 1 or maybe 2 person, depends. And yes, then again we cut it. Oops. I'm not the best chef, I have to admit. But I can still create delicious recipes. Next, we are going to need 2 frozen bananas. They are sweet and I freeze them always in advance, so always have frozen bananas on hand because you never know. They go in as well. And then, who bought? We are going to use cinnamon again. It's just the best combination. Pumpkin, cinnamon and vanilla bean powder. It's the best combo. So yes, why not? Again. A generous amount. Ready to blend. And of course a little bit of water. And it depends how thick you want your smoothie to be. I prefer to have really thick smoothies, not like water. I really want to have it thick, and most of the time I'm going to eat my smoothie with a spoon and make sure that I really chew it, because this is also very important for your digestion. And yes, that's why I'm going to add only a tiny little bit of water. Like so. And again, I see you in a second with the final result. Okay, my smoothie is ready, and again, it smells like heaven. The cinnamon, the vanilla bean is just perfect, and my neighbor is watching me right now. Hi! I think they are a little bit confused because I always talk to myself, I mean to the camera, and they are watching me, and okay, now he disappeared. Okay, so this is the smoothie, creamy. Now he's here again. Hi. And now I'm going to use a beautiful glass jar with a straw and fill my smoothie in here. You can see it. Oh, there was a chunk left. So make sure you blend it longer than me. Okay, we have it. Another delicious pumpkin recipe, perfect for the cold, cozy days and for the Christmas season, holiday season. And everyone will love it, and it's super easy and super delicious. So, taste test. It's good. Oh yeah. So yes, I'm going to enjoy my smoothie now, and I will hopefully see you in my next video when I will share some other recipes with you. And also let me know in the comments below if you like to have more recipes or more videos about nutrition facts. Just let me know in the comments below. And yes, thank you for watching, and I wish you a beautiful day. That's it for this video. Again, thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next one. So much love and peace out. Bye guys.